Um, and so this is all around the world. And what I thought I'd do today is get some of our two of our power users to really share not so much their story about My Advisor, but more about their story about their journey into advisory. So with that, I'd just like to start by introducing Pablo and Wendy. So maybe Pablo, do you want to start off? Maybe tell us where you're based, and tell me a little bit about your practice. So, how many clients do you have? Do you have a specific focus? What size are your clients?
Very good. Well, hi everyone. My name is Pablo Mayra. I'm a CPA. I'm based in Miami, and we have, I would say, roughly maybe close to about 40 clients right now. And what else would you like me to
and how large are your clients? I'd like to get people to get a sense for, have you got really big clients, or are they small businesses? Like how or is it a range?
Right. So we have clients that are in the $13 million revenue. And we also have clients that are startups, like clients that have been in business for 2 years. And I would say we have, in general, our clients are about $1 million in sales. That would be like an average.
And did your business start with bookkeeping, or have you always been a full service accounting firm?
Right. So I started as a bookkeeper, and I wanted to deliver a service that was bookkeeping based because it's a business that I understand. We don't do a lot of taxes. It's not what we specialize. We specialize in financial accounting. So all the owners that are looking for a solution to bookkeeping, that's the service we deliver. And we specialize a lot in condominium associations and homeowners associations, but what happened is that we started growing in a different direction. A lot of people started to ask for service. So we, have from restaurants to construction companies, all type of industries.
Okay. And so in a moment, I'm going to ask you about what the journey from that bookkeeping into advisory looked like. Before I do that, Wendy, tell us a little bit about your business.
Good, thank you. Hi, and I was introduced to Ben by Rob Nixon, and Rob would chop us up in pieces if you heard us say we practice. We don't practice, we're in business.
Oh, nice.
It always makes me laugh. Anyway, so I'm based in Los Angeles, and it's a gorgeous sunny day in California today. For that joy, we pay 13% state tax. We work with about 200 businesses. Their revenue ranges, I think my highest is also around the 10 to 15 million, but really our focus is on single owner businesses where we can help them make executive decisions and move really fast. In my experience, working with multiple owners was just horribly frustrating to get anything done. And so in building out our business, that's really been a niche of ours, is to work with single owner businesses. Sometimes it's a husband and wife where I can manage the fighting, but not many people. And we do everything from bookkeeping through income taxes, income tax prep, and a lot of tax planning. It's all flat fees. So people sign up for the year and they pay their fee, and then we get to business. So we cap it at 200.
Got it. And so, so I want to start with a little bit of an icebreaker. So Wendy, tell me, if I could magically give you an extra 2 hours a day, how would you spend that time?
You'd be my hero. I think 1 hour I would spend on business development, because I think if I look at my to-do list every day, that's kind of what gets squished down to the bottom because I'm busy putting out fires. So I would spend 1 hour on business development, and then I'd selfishly take 1 hour for me. Things that don't get done. I was listening to a podcast about a business owner who spent, I think he said 14 hours a week on personal development.
Oh, wow.
Impossible. I would take 1 hour a day on personal development. Thank you, Ben.
Well, I hope I am providing a little bit of time back. How about you, Pablo?
Well, I did actually gain a lot of free times using this application software. And with 2 hours, I would actually go to the beach to do some kite surfing.
Oh, you guys are both living in these amazing destinations. Okay.
I definitely need it.
I'm opening myself up for this.
I've done it in a while now that I have kids. So, but yeah, it's my what I would do.
Got it. So Pablo, tell us, how did you get started? Yeah, from the good bookkeeping practice that you had, or bookkeeping business. I like that, Wendy. I'm not going to say practice anymore. It makes sense to me. So that business into the advisory.
Right. So what happened is that I was always in corporate finance and accounting, and I wanted to give businesses a bookkeeping service that um, it will look a bit like corporate, that was very well structured, was very well delivered. And I always wanted to go way under so I wanted to undersell and just simply say bookkeeping. But then we provide all the services, right? So we go from bookkeeping to accounting and finance. So in order to give a financial report, bookkeeping has to be done perfectly, right? So we were able to do that, apply all the accounting principles, and then issue the financial statements. And the one thing that we were missing, it was just to somehow a product that helped people understand their numbers. So um, the business naturally took me that direction where people needed to talk about their financials. So I also do a flat fee service like Wendy, and I try to meet with my clients once a month, with the ones that are like the high pay clients or the ones that really need the help and the coaching. And it's just naturally, people want to talk about finance. They don't want to
So
talk about.
what do you charge them, and what do you include in that flat fee? How do you package up your service?
Was that a question for me or Wendy?
Yeah, for you.
So I try to base the price on the volume of the business and the amount of transactions. So in the beginning, I tried to get a bank statement just to get an idea of what the volume is. I ask them, what they have in revenue and things of that type. But I started with a very low fee. I used to charge, a client like $400 a month. But now I have gone up to charging, from $750 to $3,000 a month for the service.
Wow.
Yeah, and what do you include? What do you include in that?
The same thing. I mean, what happened is that over time, I think I learned how to sell the service better and maybe find better clients. But you do the same work for the small client than the big client. You don't change the quality of the service. You take just as many phone calls and emails from a person that is starting to one that is already in the 10 million. So, my advice is to always try to go to the bigger clients, but it's really hard to get them. And with one of those, you can place the little ones. The thing is that the small clients also are good because they're growing. And in my opinion, it's good to have a mixed portfolio.
Got it. And how do you package My Advisor into that bundle of services?
So my advisor is like my secret sauce. Like I don't really disclose that too much. I always like to save that as a surprise, as a wow, because I will bring that to the table if I cannot close a sale, and I will show this report, a sample of what I've done for another client, so they're impressed, right? But what I normally do, once I sell the service and I get the client going and I feel comfortable with the financials, after the second or third month, I will throw that report in, and they're completely blown away. So what I try to do is the wow factor, and I use My Advisor for that.
And so do you, from that point onwards, do you include it every month or once a quarter?
No, once I start with the client, I include it every month.
Got it. Okay. And Wendy, what's been your experience with advisory? Like, how did you start your journey?
Yeah, mine is more from because I'm from a tax background, and so for us doing the bookkeeping was more about me getting good numbers for the tax return.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody brings me junk, then for me to do a tax return is a nightmare that comes back to bite me. So we started almost throwing in the bookkeeping at a low fee just because it helped us control the relationship and helped us control the numbers. And then what we started to find, and I'm not sure, Ben, in Australia if you're seeing this, but here there are all these services that are now like $99 a month for your bookkeeping. And so people are coming to us saying, well, I can get my bookkeeping done for $99. Why would I pay you $500? And so that's where the consulting piece and the AI piece, the advisor piece, has really helped us, because we're able to say, you can do that. Or you can pay us, and this is what you get. You get this gorgeous report. I don't tell them that we use your service. I tell them it's our report. We create a report for you. And they get the very basic clients. It works on a fee of about $500 a month. And they get 30 minutes with me every month to take a look at the report and ask any questions. And for us, it's really a function of then allowing us to sell more true consulting services and tax planning. So it's a really good base to differentiate us in the marketplace and to get a really good handle on the numbers to do the taxes and the tax planning.
And so, Wendy, you know, that's a relatively low price point compared to Pablo. So how are you able to do it at that price and stay and be as profitable as you are?
Right. So I don't make as good a margin as Pablo probably does on that, because for us, again, it really was about keeping all the numbers here and keeping all the client in-house rather than having them go to these $99 services. But in terms of me, I am making money on it. And the way we're doing it is by using offshore services. So we have a team both in India and in the Philippines who are doing the actual data entry, and that helps with my margin. They are not client facing. They are data entry people. They do the reconciliations, all the journal entries, all the input. And then it comes to me and my team for client facing work.
So that's a really fascinating edge, I think. And so how did you start doing that? I mean, for someone like some of our listeners, they might think, man, that's amazing. Like, what do? You just pick up the phone and like look up the internet? Like, how do you? Yeah, how do you like? That's a really nice edge that you've got there. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about how you might get started?
First, let me just say that I get a lot of pushback from my colleagues about it being unpatriotic. I'm an immigrant. I consider myself very, very fortunate to be here in the United States. I love living here. I love being an American. But I simply could not make money to support my family and my growth and give to charity, having a base of people working in my office in Los Angeles. California taxes and the real estate here were prohibitive to me making money, as well as I had to look in the mirror and say, I am not a people manager. I don't like managing people. I don't like coming into the office and going bowling and going drinking on a Friday afternoon. I don't like that. I just want people to do their work. I don't want to know about their mom and their granny and their brother and all the fights they're having. I'm not good at that. And so that was a really important juncture for me to realize I don't want to build a Google-esque office where we sit around playing bowls every afternoon. I don't want that. And then financially, it made more sense to set my business up to cater to my personal challenges as well as put more money in.
How did you find, and how do you go about finding like the right offshore provider? Is it a niche thing where you got to find like someone, or are there big companies that just do it for you and you just Google what's the Google search term?
They're agents.
Oh, okay.
So a couple of the big ones are actually Australian based. The Outsourced Accountant is a big one. Blue Sky is a big one. We use QXAS. There are a lot of them.
Got it.
The point is not who you use, because their security is fantastic. My team are not even allowed to take their cell phones into the office. It is more secure than our US offices ever were or ever could be. But the part that I think people need to know is that it's not that you hire a team offshore and hand over your work and go, well, that's good, we're good. They need as much training, as much hand-holding, as much help as anybody in your office needs. And that for me was about a 3-month learning curve where I didn't realize that. I thought you just gave them the work and they could do it. But it's not like that. You still have to train.
Got it. And so Wendy, let's say, is there a particular sort of client that you focus on to offer the advisory services, or is it all of your clients that come in, like all 200 of them get a certain level of advisory from you? Is everyone on the $500 package?
Yep. They all get, for a $500 package, they all get an AI report every month, and they get 30 minutes with me if they want it. Honestly, some just are like, fine, I don't need it. So I mean, I offer it, but they don't all want it. And then there are a big chunk of them that actually pay extra for our, premier plans where we meet quarterly for 2 or 3 hours, or else we meet monthly for an hour, and then they pay more, obviously, because it's a deeper level of service.
Yeah, got it. So Pablo, listening to Wendy, are there any things that jump out to you that you think, oh, that's kind of interesting or a surprise?
Well, she has a large amount of clients compared to me, so she definitely has a lot more work and it's a bigger team. So that's interesting about the offshore. I don't have that luxury. We do a lot of that, pretty much in-house. And I handpick the people that get the AI report. Some clients don't need it, but most of them do. So, and I also spend a good amount of time in the AI report. Well, before I used to do it myself. So before I discovered your software, I used to write the report. I remember having a conversation with you in a webinar and I sent you a sample. I didn't have all the graphics you had, but I had the executive summary. And I needed the graphics, so that's how I found your software, because I needed the charts your software was the only one in the industry that actually writes the executive summary. Now, the way I do it, and how I use it, I go to every single section that you have, every tab. In every section, there is a very good, what's called the factual commentary, not the advisory commentary. So I remove the advisory commentary and I only keep the factual commentary. And with every section of that, I organize it in the way I like it in the executive summary. And my first page, it's a real page written out. And I take all your writing, and at the end, I make some very kind of specific comments that I like or some feedback or whatever. So I send, the financial reports from QuickBooks, and then I send the AI report. And
Yeah, I found this really interesting, Pablo, because the reason why I was really keen to have you and Wendy on together is that you both use My Advisor very differently, and I was sort of getting to that in terms of like, Pablo, you don't have as many clients, and you really finesse the report. So I can't see the reports that you guys generate with My Advisor because of the privacy and security.
We'd be happy to send you some.
Oh yeah, so that would be well. So what was interesting was that Pablo. What I can do is I can see the activity in the report, right? So on Pablo, I could just see there was a lot of activity, but I couldn't tell what it was. And I rang up Pablo. I said, "What are you doing with these reports? Like they're making a lot of changes. Like, are you not happy with it?" And he said, "No, it's like this." And I remember you showed me the reports you were creating manually, and I was shocked at how similar they were to what we were creating automatically. So I can see how you really finesse and put your own language, and you combine your own language with our language. Whereas, Wendy, my understanding, I don't really know this, is that because you've got so many clients, you probably send the report out pretty much do you, as is. Like, do you put your client's logo on it or anything like that?
No, I don't. And honestly, I should, to be honest. There are pieces of advisor that I really could enhance to look better. 100%. I agree. I should put the logo on. I just haven't. For me, the part I love about advisor is that it is a 5-minute add-on for me. So the QBO report hits, those advisory notices come up. I delete the ones that sound a little canned, to be honest, I do. And sometimes I'll write in maybe 1 or 2 comments that they can hear sound like my voice. So I'll make a joke and go, "Oh, wow, this graph looks like you got a heart attack." Well, funny and cute and send it off, but I spend no more than 5 minutes on that report before I send it off to a client.
So that's really common, actually, Wendy. That's more common, and the thing that we see in best practice with really efficient practices like yours is that people do just grab like a line here and a line there, and they'll actually try and drop in the name of a person in the business into the commentary, so that it's like, it looks like Gloria has done a great job with accounts receivable or with sales this month or something. And that makes it look like, oh my goodness, this whole report has been created, like crafted by hand.
Right. There are some sections that don't apply to all the users. Like, for example,
Right.
I don't know, I have a
Accounts
client that doesn't use QuickBooks for sales. So
Right.
we only reconcile the money coming in. Well, the money coming in doesn't have a product attached to it, and it doesn't have a customer name attached to it. So accounts receivable by name, it's something that I have to minimize and exclude.
Yeah.
And then sales by products is something I have to minimize and exclude. So, you know, yeah, we go really fast through the report. And for example, last month I have a client that is a low paying client, right? So he doesn't need an executive summary from me, not unless he pays more, right? So what I do with that one, I don't write executive summary. I leave as is, and then I minimize the sections that I don't need and I send it out. But most of them, I do actually enjoy writing the summary. So.
Yeah, sure.
Clients it just allows them to see it in a different way. When I used to only send out P&Ls out of QuickBooks, no one ever looked at it. I don't even like looking at mine.
Yeah.
And so what I can see in my open rates is that my clients actually open the AI report. Now, I don't know that they read all the way to the end, but I think they certainly look at that executive summary, and I think they look at the costs page. And I think I like it because it shows that we're different in our thinking and that we're giving them something that they can see that's extremely valuable. They have no idea that it only takes me 5, maybe 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, sure. And so one of our theories as well has been that the cash part of the report is a really valuable conversation starter. Have you found that or not so much?
Yeah, so that's the cash flow statement is a complicated financial statement for anyone, even if you're finance and accounting. It's always like, do we subtract or add this? If you have to do it by yourself right now, it'll probably take you a little bit of time. So being able to explain the cash flow statement to someone without the graphics is very complicated, right? Because it's a very accrual and they have different methods of coming to the cash flow ending balance. So the colors green and red are really helpful. So when you see a lot of red, then I'm like, you see all this red? You see how accounts receivable chart's going down? Yeah, so we have a problem. So, you know, they really get it with the graphics. It just makes a lot of sense. And now they look for the colors, so, you know.
Yeah, the colors, Pablo. I find the colors is what really gets people's attention. I think if those graphs were all black and white, we would lose a lot of people because they know to look for the green. They look for the green.
Got it.
Right.
Charts that go like that, they look to see that there's above last year or not below. That's all they look for.
Absolutely.
Got it. And so one of the things that we were thinking as well, and I'm not sure if you folks do this, is whether you have thought about taking a snippet like from the report. So even taking like a screenshot of just like that cash flow waterfall and sending it out in an email to your client, like mid-month or off cycle, to say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you ever done anything like that? No. It sounds like both of you are using it as sort of an end of the month as a package as part of the service. Yep. Got it.
Yeah, this package, you know, once the customer gets this printed, and I try to, when I meet with them, I take a copy and I print it out. I use a lot of ink, but this is
they visit you in person? Do you have those conversations in person, Pablo, or are they done over the phone?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I have about right now 5 clients that I do meet every month. We meet for 1 hour, right? So for like the high paying clients, and I print it out, I take it, we read the report together. So we go line by line in the P&L, and the balance sheet, all the statements, and then we go through the my advisor report and we read it. You know, and they ask questions, and we go to different pages. Yeah, I mean, this is a referral tool. You know, like they see this, and when they talk, people love to talk about their good mechanic, their good dentist. Like, you know, it's like, you know, this is my guy. Like, so when you give that report, they feel like, you know, you need an accountant. Like, check this out. This is my account. You know, so it's a good thing to give to your clients.
Oh, so have you heard feedback from your actual clients about them using the reports? Like, so when you're going through it with them, they're impressed?
They are very impressed. I mean, You know, it was never expected. I never sold it. It was a surprise. So now they're like, wow, we only thought that we were getting bookkeeping and finance, but now like they got their real package. And
Yeah, got it. And so, Pablo, what would you describe as your edge in your business?
so I think that we are, I would say, very customer centered. I think that we spend a lot of time with the clients on the phone and emails, and uh, basically, this is what I tell the clients. Look, um, the idea is for the client to grow, right? So if I'm selling this, if I'm explaining, if I'm coaching on a monthly basis, like growth in sales, great, but not in your accounting expenses. So we try to say this is going to be a flat fee. You're going to grow to this level, but your accounting is going to stay flat. Maybe when you're a multimillionaire, we'll increase a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so I think that our advantage is that we really work with clients to help them see the money, make money, and feel challenged to make better and provide better results every month as a company. So that's where they find our service as a differentiation from other bookkeepers, just like Wendy was saying, like the $99 people or the $299 people. Those are great services, don't get me wrong. And people should use it if they can. What happens is that they don't do accrual accounting. So if you use Bench or any of those software, they just do cash basis. Like, it's so easy, I can do that. I mean, it's just adding the numbers and subtracting, like, there's no science to it. But once you get to accrual accounting, with the real companies do, business to business especially, then you need to use accountants. So we're still in business.
So yeah, so Pablo, it sounds like your clients are reassured that there's like a certain price that you're going to charge them, no matter how much they grow. So that's a pretty interesting pitch from you. Like I can appreciate that as a business owner. It's like it's more certain. How do you know it's the right price?
How do I do to raise the price?
How do you know that you're charging the right price? Like, how do you know that you're not
I
undercharging
don't.
or overcharging?
It's just a gut feeling.
Right. Well, if anything, you might be undercharging, right? Because if you're overcharging, then people would walk. So you know that you're not.
So I think that if I were to go to different customers and maybe show this report to some of the customers that I'm now delivering this report, they would definitely pay more for the service. So it'd be easy for me to make more money if I wanted to. Right?
For newer clients, as you bring them on, are you suggesting?
Even existing. I mean, not every client gets this report, especially if I know they don't read reports. I don't spend my time sending this, but they would probably be happy to be upgraded to a higher level by showing this as a sample. So I could potentially do that.
Wendy, have you got a similar situation, or your package is your package and there's no like premium package?
No, we will craft packages based on people's needs. Because we have the tax piece, I have to do it based on how many corporations they have, how many states we're filing in. So mine do vary. But what you're talking about creating like a tier A package where they get the AI report every month. I like that idea. I haven't done it because it's so easy to use. It's easy to just send to everybody, but I do agree with you. And I hear what Pablo's saying, that there is definitely a value in saying, well, geez, you're the average client. This is what you get. Should you decide to up level with us, look at this awesome report you would get plus an hour of my consulting time. So I could definitely see how the AI system would really add as a value add for us to increase our pricing to whatever tier of clients. Because like Pablo's saying, there are a lot of people who probably just don't even look at it, nor would they, because they're so big.
And so have you used it as like a business development tool as well?
No,
no,
I have not.
Yeah,
I have not, but I see that it certainly could be. And I definitely see how that is something we could do. But I personally have not used it as a look what we have that nobody else has. I think, like Pablo, I'm using it as something that people just go, wow, this is cool. This is different. And, our edge is being cutting edge. And so people who come to see me right off the bat, they know we are cutting edge. We don't have an office. You don't come in and see me. You don't send me a package of stuff. It's not how we work. This is how we work. And that automatically takes out of the picture people who are not my target market, because they're going to say, oh no, I want to come sit in your office and have coffee. And we just say, well, we don't do that. We'll take care of you.
Yeah, so you must be, so do you serve clients all over the country? I mean, because
Yes.
essentially it's a virtual service. Got it.
Yes. Our biggest clients are in Virginia and we're in California.
Yeah, sure thing. Oh, what a great story.
I have used the software for business development. I have brought reports in. I have shown this so people understand what they get.
And so how does that work? Because essentially you would need access to their QBO, right? So a new client comes in and you say, what do you say? Just like, give me access, make me an advisor in QBO and let me take a look and I'll provide you with a report, or like, or how do
I cannot use their numbers until we don't have a relationship. So I just show a report from another client. I remove the name, I remove confidential information, just here's a sample report which you get. You know?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I haven't come across that, but that makes a ton of sense. That makes a ton of sense.
Right.
And so, so what? Maybe I'll start with you, Wendy. Like, so what advice do you have to our listeners? Many of them are in an early stage of their journey, or they're just thinking about using My Advisor, or they're doing advisory services right now, like using the general reporting tools. Any advice based on your experience?
I think we just need our own confidence to show people what we can do. Speaking as a CPA and someone who was put in a box for such a long time, oh, you just do taxes. The challenge continues to be for me to show potential clients and existing clients that we can also be valuable as consultants. We can also be valuable, and the way we do that is by showing them these reports and spending the time to explain how they can do better in their business, and not just pounding out tax returns and hiding behind that. That was a big chasm for us, was to get away from being seen as tax preparers and to kind of practice what we preach. And don't just say what people say, I'm an advisor, be an advisor, and then clients will pay for it. Very hard otherwise to just say, I'm a CPA and I do consulting. They go, really? I thought you do.
And so just before I ask you the same question, Pablo, like Wendy, like when you made that bridge, like was there a first client that you just said, okay, like how did you choose that first client, and what sort of package did you experiment with a particular client? Did you have someone that was close? Like, how do you do that first?
So I don't think you pick one client. I think you just start doing it. I think when you look back, if any of us were to look back, we've been doing it just for free for years, never charging. So clients would come in for their tax return and I'd spend 30 minutes of the session talking about their profitability and their cash flow issues and not taxes. But I never charged separately for it. I never called it consulting. It was just considered, come in and get your tax return done. And so just over time, I started kind of saying to them, no, I see you have a cash flow issue. If you'd like help with that, this is how we're going to do that. So kind of changing the way I do it, rather than giving it away for free, to actually say that I see, there's an issue here with sales. Or do you know what your ROI is on your marketing? You're spending this money on marketing. What's your ROI? I don't know. You don't know? You need help with that. I can help you. And then explaining to them that they have to pay me extra for it. So it just became changing the conversation rather than picking up practice.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. You're actually just productizing something that you're already doing, like by calling it something at least and putting a price next to it makes a ton of sense. Got it.
And I started off doing like $150 just to see if they would say yes or no. Oh, I'll charge you $150, and they said yes. And so I kept pushing the price up until they started. And then when they start saying no, you go, okay, so now either it's too expensive or I'm not pitching it right. But that's kind of how we got to our pricing of.
Oh, got it. So you're pretty comfortable that that's the right price for you, the 5 for your clients?
Well, I think we can always charge more, but our consulting clients are paying a lot more. Most people are paying about 1% of revenue for a full suite of service. Yeah. But I think for me, the pricing thing is always about percentage close rate. So if I'm closing 99% of the proposals that I put out there, I'm too cheap. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, everyone should be able to afford to work with us. If I'm closing only 75% of the proposals I put out there, then my pricing's probably right. That's how I track it. I keep track of my close rate, and then as soon as my close rate is high, I need to push up my prices. If my close rate is too low, then something else is happening. I'm not selling it right. The inbound referrals are wrong. It's kind of how I judge my pricing.
And so with your model, Wendy, is it, I mean, could you have twice as many clients as you have today, or is there a bit of a cap on the size of the what?
The cap right now is me. So I only have so many hours that I want to work. And because I'm doing the high level consulting myself, I need another me in order to take on more clients.
Yeah.
And so that's the challenge, as I'm sure Pablo can attest to, finding, another me that I trust to do as I would do with my clients is really the challenge. And that's my 3-year plan, is to find another me so that I can double that.
Got it. Yeah. So I can see how, like, you without my advisor, you'd probably charge a little less. But so, like, if I dial back the clock, then you add my advisor into the mix, you can charge a little bit more before you have to take that extra leap of trying to find another you. So it's a bit of a
Correct.
kind of a turbocharge of the existing model before you have to change the model.
And a differentiator in the market.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people are willing to pay more because I have a report that other people don't have. They're getting a basic QuickBooks report or whatever the software they're using.
It's kind of funny, right? Because when I initially started chatting with Pablo and said, "Hey, Pablo, would you jump on a podcast or something with me?" He was like, like, this is kind of a bit of a secret for me, the My Advisor report. I'm not sure if all of the advisors in the Miami area started to use it, you'd sort of start to lose your edge. Yeah, right. I can tell you, Pablo, I don't know where everyone is, but I don't think there's many other My Advisor users in Miami at the moment.
Well, I hope you get more people. I can tell you that business owners will benefit from it, no matter what. But yeah, of course, it's we don't want to be known for using My Advisor because it's truly something that you put together, and it's like a secret tool, that you use to impress a client, and also to audit your own work. So if you take some time to read it, you will ask questions that the business owner will ask himself or herself. So it's a tool that will help you also double check your work as the accounting work is being completed.
That's actually true. I have found errors that way before too, where I've looked at it and go, that can't be right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the great things. And you can also do like a month-end close. You can do a quarterly close. You can do an annual close. And I have clients like, would you do that report for me for the quarter so I can show it to my partners? So people will come and ask me for a different, periods of the report from many months ago, so they can show something. Maybe they want to go get a loan. I mean, one of the things that you should probably say is for internal use as a CPA or accountant, just to be safe. But they will show it to a banker. They'll show it to and the business owner feels, and they do actually. It's almost like having an accounting or finance team behind them. And many people will sell this as a CFO, right? I don't like to sell it as a CFO. I think it's a little arrogant for me to come and say I'm your CFO. Although I am doing the CFO work at some level, not all the job description. But the beauty is that you can undersell and over-deliver with the software. And I think that's what it's really handy for me.
That's fabulous. So I don't have any further questions, but I'm really delighted with where we've gone in this conversation. I'm really grateful, Wendy and Pablo, for you to share your experience with our users and really to share, I think what we've done today is really share the nitty-gritty of the journey that you go on from bookkeeping into advisory, which is one that many people are just starting. My advisor is just one of many tools. I guess, I always thought that My Advisor was sort of one of the simpler tools to get started with advisory. And then as your clients get really familiar with My Advisor, you could even graduate to other tools like Fathom or Spotlight or something as they become, as your clients become more familiar with the tool. But what I've seen with both you as users is that you've stayed with My Advisor. Actually, it's not like your clients have said, you know what, I want something that's more sophisticated or more I'm surprised with that actually. It's been fit for purpose and stayed fit for purpose.
Yeah, I mean, well, as I said to you, we've looked at other systems before, and if they're too complicated for me to use, I can only imagine that they're going to be too complicated for my clients. And so I love Advisor because it's the reports that we need to tell the story without all the added bells and whistles that don't add any real value. And so I think that's why we stick with it. We're not looking to get any fancier. People don't need fancy, just need to see their reports.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. I think that the way it's been designed is like very simple and straight to the point. Like I have tried other apps. I'm always looking for other systems. I always read the news. I always check what's out there, the new apps at the market store, at the app store. But my Advisor, I don't have to do any configuration. And that was amazingly. Other apps, you have to set up some mapping and a lot of things that make sense. I mean, I'm sure they're really valuable, but this is simple. So if you don't want to spend a lot of time and still get the same result, and I tell you something, Ben, there are no software out there that will write in a summary the way you're writing it. So you are really writing as a text, like a paragraph, and I have not seen that yet out there. I'm sure it exists, but I just haven't found it.
Well, Pablo, I'll definitely pass that advice. We've got an accountant that works in our team who writes a lot of that stuff. And I initially told him that Pablo's been like wiping out all of the advisory just to sort of rub it in. But no, you're the only one that does that, Pablo. That's why I thought you're too special not to have on the webinar. And I was really shocked when you said that initially, my friend. But I can understand that because you want to make sure that it doesn't seem canned. So Wendy, just for your information, like one of the things that we're going to be doing is adding some more advisory narratives in there, so you've got a little bit more to choose from. That's not so relevant for Pablo because he puts his own in there.
But maybe you could cut and paste some of Pablo's narratives.
There we go. I'll share it. I'll share something with you, Wendy. I take all the, I only leave the factual commentary. Once in a while, I will type something in the advisory box or leave one comment. And the issue that I was explaining to Ben is that I don't remember if I picked that phrase a few months ago. And it was so like, if I'm like, am I joking? Like you already told me that 2 months ago, So I have no way to remember. So that's why I have to take it out. Although they're really cool. When you do it on I think that tip is really helpful for if a business owner wants to use your service on its own, which I think is kind of risky because you have to do very good bookkeeping and accounting for you to use my Advisor. But so I have to delete them manually every time for every section. But they're really good though.
Pablo, one of our clients came up to me at Scaling New Heights and said, I was under the impression that whenever I changed the narrative, you were saving that and that was forming part of the library that you were going to make available to everybody. And I explained, I said, we actually could do that, but we don't because of privacy. And I thought that, I said, Tim, I thought that like, if you did that, you would not want all the other advisors to be benefiting from yours. And he said, but I would have thought that I'd be benefiting from everybody else's. So, I mean, do you have a view on that? Because it's a pretty edgy thing to do, right? Because all of a sudden you would be getting the wisdom of all of the other people of what they would say in that scenario. So rather than just having 2 or 3 examples of the advisory narrative for every scenario, I could put 15 or 20. So you'd have less of a likelihood of picking the same one each time. Would that concern you?
I think it's the same issue though, where he's saying you wouldn't know if you duplicated anyone. So it's too risky to duplicate anyone.
Right. Yeah, it's a little risky. So what I do, I only stick to the factual commentary because it's okay if every month you explain profit and loss in the same way. Actually, it really helps the owner because he gets used to reading the financials, right? It goes from revenue to cost of goods sold or direct expenses to your gross profit, operating expenses, net income, right? Then we go to the asset, liability, equity, and then cash flow. So the factual is perfect. Now, if I were to spend any time in developing and improving that, I would only just spend time in sharing among accountants like different factual commentaries and how to structure that. But that's it. I stay away from advisory. I just cannot remember what I said last month on the advisory section.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, well, I think we might wrap it up there. But let me just say, I always love chatting with you guys and learning a little bit more about how I can improve the product. And I'm sure you've shared, well, I know that you shared a bunch today with our listeners that'll be super useful for them. So thank you for your time. This is our first webinar, and I'm super excited by it. So have an awesome afternoon.
Thank you, Ben.
Cheers.
Well,
Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you, Wendy.
You too.
Thank you.